Megan and Jake's love blossomed from their early days in college, amidst crowded lecture halls and countless sleepless nights of studying. They found in each other a harmony of souls, sharing dreams and youthful ambitions. From passionate group study sessions to romantic outings, their feelings grew over the years, becoming a beautiful love story in the eyes of their friends. Now, standing on the threshold of marriage, Megan and Jake are painting a perfect picture of their big day together. Megan dreams of a wedding on a dreamy beach, where the sunset descends over soft, white sands, while Jake envisions a shimmering setting adorned with twinkling lights and vibrant fresh flowers. Together, they plan every little detail, from choosing Megan's pure white wedding dress to the song that will play in the sacred moment. "I hope the day will be perfect," Megan whispers, her eyes sparkling with happiness. Jake gently squeezes her hand. "As long as you're by my side, everything is perfect." Each passing day, their love deepens, filled with joy and the eager anticipation of joining lives. Megan and Jake understand that their wedding is not only a significant milestone, but also the beginning of a new journey, where they will nurture happiness together and continue to write sweet chapters of their love story. The big day finally arrives, the day Megan officially becomes a bride. Standing before the mirror, she adjusts her veil one last time, her heart brimming with excitement and nervousness. The room is silent, save for the ticking of the wall clock. Just 30 minutes left until the wedding ceremony. Today, she will become the wife of the man she loves most. Everything was going smoothly until the phone rang. Megan's heart skipped a beat as she picked up, still trying to keep her smile. "Hello," she whispered, her voice trembling. An endless silence seemed to stretch between them. "I'm sorry, Megan. I won't be coming." "Why?" "It's over between us. I need to focus on my career. I hope you'll understand." Megan stood frozen, her empty gaze staring at her reflection in the mirror. She saw herself as pitiful, a bride abandoned on her wedding day. The room, once filled with fresh flowers and pink invitations, suddenly felt like a prison trapping her in despair. Her beautiful wedding gown now felt tight and suffocating, each bead pressing into her skin like needles. Memories of Jake, of the promises they made, of his smile, when he slipped the engagement ring onto her finger, all came flooding back, only to shatter like soap bubbles. He had lied, everything was a lie. The cheerful chatter of guests outside felt like knives cutting into her heart. How devastated her parents would be, how her friends would look at her with pity. In just a few minutes, that door would open, and she would have to face everyone, confronting the harsh truth that she was a bride left behind. The future seemed dark, her life crumbling before her eyes. Megan lowered her head in despair, tears streaming down her cheeks. The small town suddenly turned into hell for Megan. She was engulfed in pain and despair. News of her broken wedding quickly became gossip fodder for the nosy. She felt like a hunted animal, every gaze directed at her filled with curiosity, mockery, and even pity. The hurt of betrayal and the shame in front of the public made Megan wish she could disappear from this world. A week after that fateful day, in the small bathroom, she held a pregnancy test in her hand, 2 lines clearly visible. The initial shock quickly gave way to confusion and fear. In the storm of her life, she suddenly felt pitifully alone. What should she do? Should she tell Jake? Would he come back and take responsibility? Or would she have to face everything alone, becoming a single mother in the scorn of society? The next day, the ultrasound results at the hospital left her numb. She was pregnant with 4. 4 tiny lives were growing inside her, but their father had cruelly abandoned her. Megan stood at a crossroads, one path leading to the life of a single mother burdened with responsibilities, the other leading to the painful decision to terminate the innocent lives. After many sleepless nights, she decided to keep the 4 children. She would raise them, no matter what. From then on, her life became an unending struggle. She worked tirelessly, from serving tables and working at a convenience store to cleaning houses, anything that would earn her money to support her children. 9 months later, her 4 sons, Albert, Harry, Jaden, and Luca, were born one after another, each child bringing her their own joys and worries. Megan was not only a mother but a hero in her sons' eyes. She taught them the values of resilience and love, no matter how harsh life could be. 5 years passed, and Megan built a stable life for her family. She devoted herself to teaching her children, encouraging them to study and play sports, helping them integrate into society. Every time she saw the innocent smiles on their faces, her heart felt warm, though the pain from the past quietly lingered. One fine day, while shopping at the mall, a familiar voice sounded behind her. "Megan, long time no see." She turned around and saw Jake standing there, accompanied by his new wife, Emily, with long hair and a bright smile, though her eyes were cold. Emily held the hand of a little girl, Lisa, and looked at Megan with disdain. Megan felt everything spinning, but she tried to stay calm as painful memories resurfaced. Megan took a deep breath to steady herself. She took a step forward and said, "Long time no see. How have you been?" Jake nodded, looking slightly awkward. "I've been fine, thanks. And you?" Just then, Megan's 4 sons ran up to her, grabbing her hands and calling out, "Mom." Jake felt awkward when he saw the 4 children standing next to their mother. "These 4 kids, when did you get married?" he asked, his eyes wide with surprise. Emily, standing next to Jake, didn't hesitate to chime in. "How interesting. How old is your oldest son now?" "About 4 or 5. She smirked, clearly showing her disdain. Megan responded firmly, her gaze sharp. "My sons are 5 years old and they are all doing very well. They don't need anyone's scorn, especially not from a stranger." She refused to let Emily's mockery rattle her. Emily's face turned red with anger, and her contempt became even more evident. Before leaving, she didn't forget to shoot a sharp glare at Megan. Her eyes filled with hostility. "I'll give you 5 minutes, I'll wait in the car." "Let's go," Emily snapped, her voice cold as ice. As for Jake, he stood frozen in place, his gaze wavering between doubt and astonishment as he looked at the 4 boys before him. They were like little replicas of him, from their dark brown hair and bright blue eyes to their radiant smiles. Even though he had a new family, Jake's heart stirred with a strange feeling, a mix of longing and regret. He couldn't deny the invisible connection he felt with these children. After Emily walked away, Jake could no longer maintain his composure. "They are 5 years old?" he asked, his voice choking. Then, as if something suddenly clicked in his mind, he realized something, and the truth flooded his thoughts like a wave. "Are they my children?" Megan looked straight into Jake's eyes, a mix of anger and pain swirling inside her. "Yes, they are your children," she replied, each word hitting him like a slap. "You abandoned them. You abandoned me. Now, what do you want?" Jake's heart felt like it stopped. Those words pierced his conscience like a knife. He had been living in the lie of a new marriage, but now the truth exploded before his eyes. "Megan, I didn't know, I didn't mean it that way. I just want to understand more about them, about your life." "Understand more?" "After 5 years, now you remember we have kids, you can't just walk into their lives as if nothing happened. They need a father, not a passerby. I'm sorry. If there's any way to make it up to you, I will. I won't abandon them again." Megan took a deep breath, refusing to let herself soften under Jake's gaze. "No," she said firmly. "I have raised them for 5 years. You won't take my children from me. We have lived without you, and I won't let you step into their lives as if nothing ever happened." Megan was no longer patient. She turned around and pulled her 4 sons close, her face resolute. "Let's go, boys. We don't need to be here any longer." After that, Jake sought out Megan and expressed his desire to adopt them, or at least to take them out for outings. After several refusals, Megan reluctantly allowed him to take the children out, thinking they deserved to have fun with their father. After many unsuccessful attempts to persuade Megan, Jake was not willing to give up. He decided to hire a lawyer and was determined to fight for custody. Heated arguments ensued continuously, further straining their relationship. The boys were still too young to fully understand the custody agreement. They only knew that a father had suddenly appeared, a strange father who looked like them. Jake had made an effort, Megan had to admit that. He took the children out every weekend, taking them to the zoo, watching sports games, and going to amusement parks. He tried to learn about their interests. Albert's passion for soccer, Harry's love for painting, Jaden's fascination with numbers, and Luca's talent for writing. But no matter how hard he tried, there was always an awkwardness between them, a distance that the boys also sensed. The following weeks were a whirlwind of confusion, tension, and instability. Jake and Megan continuously argued over the issue. Out of frustration, Jake decided to take the matter to court, seeking legal intervention. From this moment on, the legal battle stretched on, filled with tragedy and tears. forcing both of them to confront difficult decisions about the future of the children. They were compelled to face the repressed memories and emotions, and neither of them could find peace within themselves. Megan was no different. She called her lawyer. They had a long, intense discussion, considering each option and possibility. By the time the call ended, she was exhausted, but Megan's determination had become even more resolute. She would fight for her children, no matter what she had to sacrifice. The first custody hearing was scheduled in 2 weeks. Megan arrived at the courthouse early, her heart pounding. Jake was already there, looking tense but determined, and beside him, like a shadow, was Emily. The hearing was fierce. Jake's lawyer painted Megan as an unfit mother, bringing up every hardship she had faced and every mistake she had made. They spoke of her low income, her tiny apartment, and the fact that she had no support from her family. It is clear that Miss Megan cannot provide these children with the life they deserve. Meanwhile, Mr. Jake can offer them stability, security, and a loving home. Megan clenched her fists under the table. How dare they? How dare they judge her for trying her best, for sacrificing things Jake had never even considered? But then her lawyer stood up, his voice calm and steady. Ms. Megan has raised these children alone for the past 5 years. She has been their only caregiver, their source of love and comfort. And despite her circumstances, she has never asked Mr. Jake for help. She has provided them with the best she could, and they are currently happy, healthy, and deeply loved. Finally, the judge, a woman in her 50s with a stern demeanor, listened to both sides before leaning forward, her gaze sharp. Megan, I tend to believe that you are a good mother, but I also believe that children deserve to know both of their parents, if it is in their best interest. Are you willing to work with Mr. Jake to create a joint custody agreement? Megan swallowed hard, her eyes darting quickly to Jake. His expression seemed open. Slowly she nodded. Yes, Your Honor. Jake's shoulders slumped in relief, and in that brief moment, Megan allowed herself to hope. Maybe this could work. Maybe he could be a good father. After that, Jake frequently picked up the 4 brothers, Albert, Harry, Jaden, and Luca, and took them home every weekend. These meetings became the moments the boys looked forward to, eagerly waiting by the door with bright eyes. Jake tried to make everything fun and meaningful. He took the kids on picnics, participated in sports activities, and sometimes simply sat together, playing their favorite games. Despite his best efforts, Jake still sensed the boys' shyness, as if they didn't fully trust his presence. Albert was often the shyest, while Harry and Jaden were more enthusiastic but couldn't hide their scrutinizing looks. Luca, the youngest, was always full of energy, making the atmosphere more lively. Jake felt happy but also worried. He knew that rebuilding this relationship would not be easy. Megan watched from afar, feeling a part of her both anxious and hopeful. She knew Jake was trying, and that gave her some faith. But the past still lingered, and she couldn't help but doubt his ability to truly become the father her children needed. With Jake regularly bringing the 4 brothers, Albert, Harry, Jaden, and Luca, home, Emily felt jealous and frustrated. She couldn't stand her husband spending so much time with an old family, especially since these children had a strong bond with Jake, making her feel threatened. She often expressed her dissatisfaction, secretly observing every action of Jake and the boys. One day, when Jake returned home after a picnic with the kids, Emily could no longer contain her emotions. Don't you see you're wasting your time with those kids? Jake turned to look at Emily, his patience starting to wear thin. They are my children. I just want to be a good father. Emily scoffed, her eyes filled with anger. A good father can't have 2 families. What are you doing with them? Do you know that every time you're with them, you make me feel unimportant? The tension between them escalated, and Jake felt a surge of anger. I can't abandon my children just because you feel jealous. If you can't accept that, maybe we need to have a serious conversation about this relationship. Emily, who had never liked these unexpected kids, always found ways to make their lives difficult. She used sharp words and cold gestures to make the children feel alienated, and even secretly tormented them. She, with her cunning nature, spared no means to eliminate her husband's 4 children, or at least to pressure him to remove them from his will. She wanted all that wealth to go to her only daughter, Lisa. She constantly sowed discord, putting Jake in a difficult position, forcing him to choose between her and his children. But the peak of her malice came when Emily fabricated a sensational incident, She accused Harry of molesting Lisa, her own daughter. This unacceptable accusation placed Jake in a precarious situation, cornered. A sense of helplessness engulfed him as he faced the harsh reality that once the accusation was made, nothing would ever be the same again. He had to not only defend Harry but also fight against dangerous allegations that could destroy the entire family. Upon learning of the situation, Megan felt like she was sitting on a pile of fire. At that moment, she was like a lioness provoked. The instinct to protect her child surged powerfully, banishing all fear and hesitation. She could not stand by and watch her son be harmed. She was determined to fight, to expose Emily's wicked face, and to protect Harry at all costs. Without hesitation, Megan set off on her own battle. She quietly gathered evidence, documenting Emily's suspicious behavior towards Jake's children. Like a skilled detective, she was clever and meticulous, leaving no clues behind. She reached out to old friends, those she had distanced herself from after the wedding debacle, sharing her plight and asking for their help. They were willing to lend a hand out of loyalty to Megan, and also due to their outrage at Emily's cruel scheme. Megan's fight was not just a battle of a mother protecting her child, but also a struggle to regain justice and restore the honor of innocent children. With her perseverance and relentless effort, Megan collected enough evidence to prove the truth. She obtained important documents and testimonies from those involved. When everything was ready, she confidently walked into the courtroom, carrying determination and hope for her children's future. In the end, all her efforts were not in vain. The truth was revealed. Emily's deceitful facade was exposed, and Harry was vindicated. As a result, she faced penalties for her actions. Megan felt a sense of relief and pride knowing that she had done the right thing for her beloved sons. Now, she could continue to build a safe and happy life for them without worrying about the threat from Emily. However, Megan understood that the trauma that Harry had endured would linger with him for a long time. The haunting memories of the false accusations, the confusion, and the fear of facing the suspicious gazes of others left scars that could not be erased in his young soul. Megan felt heartbroken watching her little boy go through those terrifying days. She silently vowed to do everything she could to make it up to him, to love and protect him even more. Finally, after months of struggling with complex emotions, Jake expressed his desire to get back together with Megan. He admitted his past mistakes and expressed a wish to rebuild their relationship. But she shook her head in refusal. The pain of Jake's betrayal from years ago, along with what her children had to endure, made her realize that the love she had for Jake had long since died, replaced instead by hatred and disappointment. She could not forgive him, let alone return to the man who had caused her so much suffering. Jake, having lost everything, was left alone with his daughter Lisa. He realized his mistakes and regretted losing Megan and his sons. But it was too late. The door to happiness had closed on him forever. Life continued, with each person taking a different path. Megan was resilient and strong, continuing to nurture her small family. Her 4 sons were her comfort and her source of life. Meanwhile, Jake lived in loneliness and torment, forever unable to let go of the past. Their stories served as a reminder of the value of family, the strength of maternal love, and above all, a valuable lesson about the choices in life.